The door to the 7th seed may have just swung open for the Milwaukee Bucks. We explain why coming up next on Locked On Bucks.
You are Locked On Bucks, your daily Milwaukee Bucks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Bucks, back at you for the third time today. I'm Justin Garcia, joined as always by Camille Davis. Thank you for making this your first stop of the day each and every day and for helping this become the #1 sports podcasting network in the industry. And Camille, I mentioned we've talked to the people a lot today, and this is another one because of the news that came out earlier today from Orlando that Franz Wagner is going to be out 3 weeks and then be reevaluated, which 97% of the time when the timeline is we'll reevaluate at this, tack on 2 more weeks. So, I mean, like there's a chance Franz Wagner misses the rest of the regular season at worst. We're looking at mid to late March return. And the Bucks play the Magic in about 2.5 weeks. Yep. So that final game that we said is going to determine who holds the tiebreaker between the Bucks and the Magic is basically, barring a miraculous recovery, going to be played without Franz Wagner.
Yeah, and that's a big part of their team, like what he brings to the table. And they've, unfortunately, in Orlando, this isn't their first rodeo of having to figure out what life looks like without Franz being available. It's been the story all season, honestly, for the last couple of years of just them being able to be healthy enough to see what it looks like when the full group is together. And another season here for Orlando where it's just not going to be the case for them. To hear that he's out indefinitely to be reevaluated in 3 weeks, like you said, makes me think that it'll be a stretch if he does play again this season, because the reason he's sitting back out again is that same high ankle sprain that he's been dealing with, and it's just not healing the way that it needs to for him. So they're like, we're going to just sit you down for a little bit longer, reevaluate that. But as you mentioned, for the Bucks side of things, come that March 8th matchup against the Bucks in Milwaukee, don't think he's going to be available for that. So it's a golden opportunity for the Bucks to try to take advantage of the Magic being without one of their best players in trying to win that season series against them. So it's just kind of ironic that we get this information with the day after we do the whole episode around just like, how high can the Bucks climb? And probably not Orlando, but maybe if injuries hit, then maybe so. And not that we're wishing injury on anyone, because that's not the case, but it does open the door for the Bucks to possibly get up there to that 7 seed. And then you get up into that 7-8 range, Justin, depending on how quickly I might start talking crazy and setting my sights on the 6 seed at that point.
I mean, yeah, it's funny that we said, well, we're leaving Orlando out of this because, and now I suppose we're going to have to revisit that. I mean, right now, I would still tell you, I don't think the Bucks climb up to number 7 in the Eastern Conference, but the chances of that happening have certainly increased. And I see there's been a few comments left on our most recent episode too of fans mentioning how much the betting lines have shifted too, where the Bucks are now plus 400 or something, went from plus 1,200 to plus 400 to reach the postseason. So it started to massively shift here. It makes for an interesting game against the Magic, which is in Milwaukee in, as I mentioned, 2.5 weeks. And that, I mean, look, the most important games, we already laid it out there. It's the tanking teams, and it's those teams that are directly in front of you. And now I guess we got to include the Magic. So 14 games that you have, those are the most important ones left. And look, if this team just continues to chip away and do all the little things that they've been doing, I'm ready to have a different conversation in 10 days, Camille.
I will be too. Because again, like I said, if you can continue to build on what we've been seeing, the hopium will continue to grow on my end for sure. Like, just give me a reason to believe you can stack these victories. Give me a reason to believe that it's worth going on this play-in chase. And what we've seen from this team, honestly, since the week of the trade deadline, where they rattled off the 3 wins and the 3-game homestand they had in Milwaukee. Again, albeit against Chicago and the Pelicans and the Pacers, which are three teams. You can see where they are in the standings. You understand that. But to see how this team also responded when they went to Orlando for that back-to-back, both games in Orlando. You lost the first one, but you responded in that second game. You beat the Thunder on the second half of back-to-back. Those games right there, especially right before the break, because that time frame before All-Star break, it can be a little like, man, I'm just looking ahead to this vacation. I need this time off. You can see teams lose their focus during that time. And for a Bucks team that has lost focus many times throughout the season, even before a break was forthcoming for them, it was really encouraging to see them finish that way. So seeing how they come out of All-Star break is also going to be important. But knowing that one of the teams ahead of them in the standings that you're trying to catch up to is losing a piece like Franz Wagner for some time here, it just continues to keep that door open where it's like things are shaping up in a way where it can be very favorable for the Bucks going forward.
All right, one quick peek at the Magic schedule and things we need to be aware of here with this big news that Franz Wagner now out at least 3 weeks. We'll dig into that next. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Well, FanDuel has given you the chance to do that. Turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. And here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered to win a shot for two at the NBA Finals. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. So if you're already looking at the board thinking about which team can make a deep run, make it your team. This is the perfect time to lock in. With futures, you can pick whether a team wins the championship or just wins their conference, adding that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now not only can your pick cash in, it could also send you to the NBA Finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. New year, new systems, and this is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business, thinking there has to be a better way. Well, there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make, and that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. With Quo, your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, making replies faster and more personal, and it works right from your phone or computer. You can even keep your existing number. Plus, Quo's smart AI tools will automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and even highlight next steps so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That is quo.com/lockedonnba. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, your inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. So this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. But here's the stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. All right, Camille. So I guess let's just rip the Band-Aid off very bluntly here. Who, in what order do we see 7 through 10 in the Eastern Conference?
Ooh, that is a great question. So if I'm putting on my prediction hat and I have to figure this out of who's finishing 7 through 10 in the East, with the what's going on with the Magic right now, and honestly the Heat too, because they haven't looked great themselves. The Hornets have been the hottest team in this bunch so far. So if you're looking off that of like, hey, I think that the health that Charlotte has been receiving recently, I think that's sustainable for them. I think they're going to continue to be healthy. I could see them climbing up in the standings here. I can see the Bucks climbing up. But again, if you get in a situation where it's a similar record between Charlotte and Milwaukee, the Bucks do have that tiebreaker, which is helpful. But I'm going to say Charlotte 7, Milwaukee 8, Miami 9, and I'm gonna go with the Hawks 10. I think the Magic are gonna fall. No. I'll go Magic 10. Magic 10.
You think Atlanta's falling out?
I think Atlanta falls out.
Okay. I suppose I got to give you an answer.
You sure do. It was between Atlanta and Miami for me at first. I was like, which one of those two teams? But I think I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
Okay, so the current setup right now, current standings, is the Magic are 7, and they are 2 games up in the loss column on the Heat. Miami is 8, Charlotte is 9, Atlanta is 10. But similar to Atlanta, the Bucks are 5 games behind the Magic in the loss column. You know what? I'm going to say Miami's the team that drops out of the play-in tournament.
Okay, I can see that.
I will say do we want to get nuts? All right.
Go ahead. Let's say Milwaukee 7. Go ahead.
No, I can't. I'm not 10 toes down, so I can't quite get there yet. I'll say Charlotte 7, Milwaukee 8, Orlando 9, Atlanta 10.
Okay. What is it about the Heat that you're kind of like, you know what? I think they're not long for the play-in.
I acknowledge the Bucks have not been a good team this season. Miami is smoke and mirrors. It was all early in the season, the pace that they were playing at and everything else. I'm not singling him out to say, like, see, it's his fault. They have not been the same team since Tyler Hero returned. They're basically 500 now. Look, the Bucks still have a negative point differential, but the Heat hasn't been great. Neither has Orlando, for that matter. But I just look at Miami, and I see a team that, at their best, they were, what was their high point? 14-7, I think, early on. That was right around the time that they beat the Bucks. They were 13-6 when they beat the Bucks in the Cup game, and then went 1-1 the rest of the way, losing to the Pistons and beating the then lowly Clippers. So 14-7 was their high point. They have gone 15-20 since then, and I just think that is more indicative of who Miami is. That's the team that I would say falls out of the top 7 through 10 mix.
Yeah, I think that's fair. For me with Atlanta, they've just been kind of searching for it as of late too. Like, especially if you just look at what it's been like for Atlanta since the calendar flipped to 2026. Like, they've had like a bottom 5 offense in the league since the calendar has flipped. It has just not been there consistently for them. The defense, though, has been kind of middle of the pack for them. So like they have been able to lean on that. But the scoring part of it for Atlanta has just gotten very, very difficult. They have had some injuries play a factor into that. But I just think for them going a long way here, it's just going to be a little bit tougher for them going forward. So lucky for Atlanta, they do have an easy schedule. ahead of them, so that could work in their favor. But I do find it funny that on Tankathon, two of the games that they have listed as being like the the
Yeah.
easier games are against the Bucks.
Yes.
So Milwaukee take care of business. You continue to move on up and you continue to push them down.
Yeah, I mean that's the seeing the Bucks in there as one of the quote unquote easy teams is
Yeah.
the one that's been tough to come to grips with. I think the difference between and like I believe part of it too is you got a 5-game head start with that win-loss record. Why I wouldn't pick Orlando as of this moment to fall out of there, but there's not a whole lot to like about what we've seen in Orlando. You and I have talked about it many times this season too. Of like, what's going on there? Are we sure? Are we sure our guy Jamal Mosley's going to survive this? Are we sure about Paolo? I mean, this is kind of interesting here. So maybe, and I mean, if they do slide out of the top 10 altogether with this injury, there are going to be massive changes headed to Orlando in the offseason. But I just feel like, and as much as we can push back on CBS Sports and their Bucks reporting, did you see their most recent front office rankings that they did about a week ago?
I didn't see the rankings, but I saw somebody whose word I don't trust very
Oh,
much
put it out there.
repost that article and say some disparaging things. So I could only assume where the Bucks were ranked in that ranking based on the post I saw from said individual. I'm guessing they were bottom 5 in the league based on how they were talking about it.
Just outside of it.
Just
I nailed it when I thought, well, I'm guessing they're going to be ranked here, and that's exactly where they were. But their point about Miami was like, look, if this was anybody other than Pat Riley, we're having entirely different conversations about this front office and like, what are they actually doing here? What have they done in recent years? The young guys that, again, don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. Their young guys have been better than the Bucks young guys, but the way I've heard Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez Jr. talked up and to see what they actually are, there's a pretty big gap between the productivity and the discussion that have been around them. So yeah, I would go with Miami at this point, and I'm too much of a coward, but I really want to say Bucks 7. I just don't know if that's my heart or if that's my head saying it here.
You'll know a lot more like this time next week. We got a couple more games. Like, let's kind of see how we're feeling after a few more games under the belt.
Hopefully they don't start with a dud with New Orleans
Right.
on Friday. So yeah, we'll preview that game coming up here on Friday's show, but on tomorrow's show, Ben Golliver, formerly of the Washington Post and the Greatest of All Talk podcast, he is one of the founding members of Giannis Incorporated, jumped on with me to basically have a board meeting and give his thoughts on where the team currently sits, where Giannis is. I'm not going to give away too much, but I don't know how happy a lot of Bucks fans are going to be with a potential heel turn from Ben Golliver here. So that is coming your way on tomorrow's episode, and I would imagine we're going to get a lot of comments on that one.
Probably. I know I can't wait to hear it myself. I'm looking forward to hear what the comments were from Ben.
So yes, Ben Golliver on the future of Giannis, what they should do this summer, what he thinks is going to happen, and just a broader conversation about everything else. Look for that in your feed tomorrow. Thanks again to everybody for tuning in every single day, multiple times a day as well. You can still sign up for the Everydayer Club. You get ad-free episodes of Locked On Bucks and access to the exclusive Discord channel as well, not just for Bucks fans, for every single team in the NBA as a whole. You can sign up for it through the link in today's episode. Find that in the show notes. That'll do it for today's show, though. For Camille, I'm Justin. We'll talk with you guys once again tomorrow on Locked On Bucks.